gentlemen, this is BobbieD coming to you from Cebu to the pigs. And today, we're going to talk about some presidential political stuff, okay, regarding former President Donald Trump, okay. Recently, for those of you that are aware, he attended an NABJ, which is a National Association of Black Journalists Forum meeting in Chicago. And he participated in a question and answer session with 3 nationally known reporters. During the session, there were several topics that were brought up and very, very interesting answers by Donald J. Trump, okay? So we're gonna go over these things with you, and then I'm gonna give you my take on it, how I feel, how it went down, okay? So, former President Donald Trump, at the meeting, accused Vice President Harris, Kamala Harris, of not always claiming to be a black, well, be black rather. The 2024 Republican presidential nominee's accusation came during a discussion with 3 journalists, as I just mentioned before. First journalist, Rachel Scott, ABC News. Second journalist was Kadia Goba, with Seymour News, and then Harris Faulkner, as most of us know from Fox News, okay? Now, they're also members, they're black, and they're also members of the NABJ, okay? So, here's how it went down. Former President Trump also criticized one of the reporter's questions and proceeded to call her and her employer, which is ABC News, fake news. That's Rachel Scott, okay? Other topics that came up during his face-to-face interview included Senator J.D. Vance's cat lady's comment, border security, and Mr. Trump's age and health, okay? The journalists interviewing him were, again, Rachel Scott with ABC News, Kadia Goba with Seymour News, and Harris Faulkner with Fox News, okay? So, 5 things or 6 things that came up, or points of interest rather, that we would look at today. The first thing, as soon as President Trump or former President Trump came on the stage, ABC News journalist Rachel Scott got into it immediately. Okay, Markel, what's up, man? Good to see you in the house today. And then he didn't know how to take her question. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Rachel Scott was just a little bit sensitive, too sensitive, and she was just a little bit wired up. She was wired up. So here's what she said as soon as she got. Let's just play this. DC, if you need to go out, go ahead on out now, please. I got Lisa D in here, and as you know, ladies and gentlemen, she always want to interrupt me when I'm doing a live stream. So go ahead. You done?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Okay. So let's see where Rachel. I'm gonna play some audio for you. Can't do the video. Here we go. Just got to pull it up real quick. Here we go.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today.
Okay, so she's saying immediately she's going to start by addressing what? The elephant in the room. What's the elephant in the room? Him being at a black people's function, black journalist function, and him being partly, or I guess notably known as a racist, or having racist tendencies. But let's continue.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from.
Okay, so you see here, Rachel gets hammering him with his former statements about black people. He told Kamala Harris and told other people, the people of color, to go back to their country. He even called, I think the name of the reporter was April Ryan rather, said she was a nasty woman. He's had a lot of very, very demeaning gestures and statements to say about African American women. And she brought it up because she is an African American journalist. Okay, and so she is very, very high strung. And here she goes again.
You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black.
Did you hear that? He used words like animal and rabbit. Wow.
District attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they asked are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort.
Okay.
So my question.
Okay, so he's had dinner at Mar-a-Lago with a white supremacist at this resort. Okay. And man, how much more evidence or insinuations do we need to see that this guy has racist, if he's not a racist, I mean, he has, at least he has racist tendencies. And she brought that out. Okay, so let's continue.
Sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that? Okay,
so her primary focus is why should black people trust Donald J. Trump after he has used racist overtones and racial language like that? And it's a very perfectly legitimate and logical question to ask, okay? It is perfectly legitimate and logical to ask, but he became very, very agitated, as we're going to find out.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network.
Now, see, he's attacking her personally. She asked him a legitimate question. She did not attack him personally. She just gave him some information about some of the things he said. It wasn't a personal attack. It was a legitimate question she answered, but he responded with personal attacks against her and her employer.
Terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina.
Has he done very much for the black population of the United States of America? There are a few things he did, but I wouldn't say a lot, okay? And many of the things he did were a part of his job to do, okay? Well, he didn't go out of his way to do anything for us.
Which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. Done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly.
Okay, so he's calling her again, rude introduction. Just accept the introduction and move forward. But he became irritated by it, and then he launched down a personal attacks against her.
Exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said you can't do it with Zoom. Well,
okay, let's go back to that. He's saying that the National Association of Black Journalists invited him under false pretenses. That's a bald-faced lie. He and his campaign knew exactly the terms of and the conditions of his invitation to the NABJ. He had a right to accept it, or he had a right to deny it, decline it. Okay, he chose to accept it. Okay, so he knew exactly that Vice President Harris could not be there. She had a prior engagement in Houston. Okay, she couldn't be there. She wanted to, but she couldn't. She asked the NABJ if they would allow her to do a Zoom, and they said no. Okay, that was not on Vice President Harris. That was on NABJ. Okay, they wanted to schedule another interview with Vice President Harris in September. So she said okay. Okay, so now they were. Trump was behind the scenes, very, very angry that he had to attend it and Vice President Harris wasn't there. He was trying to make a big deal. He really didn't want her to be there. And you guys know why. because if she was there, they would have a debate, and he does not want to have a debate with her. He's scared of her. He's like a little chicken running away from her. Okay, let's go.
Where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something.
Okay, let me talk about this half an hour late thing. There were two things. Number one, Trump and his campaign were very, very irate about the fact that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, wouldn't be there. And they were very, very upset about it. And they held up the program. And at the same time, I will admit, NABJ had a technical problem with the audio. Okay, so during that time, they got it fixed. But Trump's team was actually about an hour late because they were debating about they want him to go on or not. Okay, so that's the story behind it. Okay, let's go ahead.
Mr. President, I would love
think
you
it's
to
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
about your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe
answered the
black folks
question.
should trust you with another
I have
4
been
years.
the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
What?
That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to...
Okay, get ready for this. He's going to talk about her race, and she turned from Indian to black.
...serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a definition then. Would you give me a definition? DEI. Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question.
No, you have to define it. Define.
Now he's being argumentative with the reporter, the interviewer. He's not there to argue. He's there to answer questions. But he's upset. And when Trump gets upset, he does what upset Mr. Little Boy Trump does. He wants to argue and fuss. He wants to do a tantrum.
And define it for me if you
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago.
Did you guys hear that? He didn't know she was black. And this is a guy that gave her, he actually, back in the day when he was a Democrat, right? He was a registered Democrat, Trump was a registered Democrat. He actually gave donations and money to Vice President Harris's campaign when she was campaigning for a DA and a district attorney and so forth, state attorney general of California. He gave the donations, so he knew that she was black. And she never claimed herself to anything other than black. So this guy is actually lying. I'm sorry to say that. He's being deceptive.
She happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
He said she happened to turn black. How can you just turn black? Come on, man. Who does that? I mean, give us some intelligence. Give us some credit for having some sense. You know, you think everybody's ignorant? I can't believe this guy. Former president of the United States of America, and he's coming on here making personal attacks against a legitimate reporter, asking legitimate questions, and he's lying in the process of it. And he's supposed to think that people are supposed to vote for him? Come on, man. No way. Let's go. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this, and then I'm gonna go over some other points with you. Then we're gonna call this out. Okay?
He's always identified as a black woman.
I respect either one. I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black.
Indian
Just
all
to
the
be
way.
clear, sir, do you believe that she is?
Somebody should look into that too when you ask. Continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir.
Did you hear what he said? He called the reporter nasty. That is one of his favorite terms to call African American women. I've never heard him say that about any other race women, But African American women, he calls them nasty. Okay? How much more evidence do we need to see that this guy has racist tendencies, or if and or not total point blank racist?
You believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some.
All right, I'm gonna stop this. Let's go. So I'm gonna talk about a few other things. I'm not gonna replay the recording anymore, but I'm gonna go over some interesting points of interest that went down in this particular interview or conference. He talked about the race issue with Kamala Harris. We just talked about that, and you see how ludicrous and ridiculous he sounded. And then one of the other points of interest was he talked about her being on possible DEI, diversity, equity, and influence person. That's where in other words, she was hired because of her race. That's not true. She was asked to run as vice president because she was the most qualified. Because President Biden believed she was the most qualified at the time to get on the ticket for them to win. Okay. Then he talked about black jobs again. I don't know if you've heard him talk about this. He said he keeps saying that the people that are coming into America, undocumented immigrants, are taking black jobs. Okay, that's another racist overturned slur, and I don't like to hear that. And then during the interview, they asked him, "What is black job?" He said, "That's a job that every black person has." Oh man, how low can you go? Anyway, then he talked about the cat lady comment by his vice president choice, J.D. Vance, that anybody that doesn't have any children should not vote, and all kind of crazy stuff. Then he said that his vice president option that he chose, J.D. Vance, really doesn't matter. He doesn't need him to get elected. And then he said, one last question they asked him, will you step down if your health declines? And he said, yes, sir. So, guys, I saw the whole interview on the news, and I watch international news all the time. I was just shocked, and I'm sure that some of you were just as shocked as I was for him to say that Kamala Harris would turn from Indian to black. Now she's turning black. She just turned black. This is ridiculous, and every time this guy speaks in public, it's worse and worse and worse, and it continues to show his racist attitude toward African Americans and towards people of color, not just African Americans, but Asians, Hispanics, Jews, and also to some of the LGBTI people. Okay, so for those of you that want to vote for Trump with all of these baggage that he has, okay, go ahead and do it. You know, that's your thing. That is your God-given right to vote. But for me, I can't vote for somebody that I believe is a racist. I can't vote for somebody that I believe doesn't know, have a lot of intelligence about politics and about the world view. I just can't do it. So Kamala Harris is my choice, and I would ask you guys, if you're listening, to consider her for your choice as well. You know, I'm not telling you to vote for. You vote who you want to vote for, but compare, do a comparison analysis. Markel's in the house. Where's Markel? What's up? Yeah. Why does race doesn't matter? Her race shouldn't matter. You know, he's doing something to avoid letting people know that she is the more qualified person. Like Kamala Harris said several days ago, she had did a speech in, I think, Atlanta. She said it's not about her race, it's about who's qualified. She said she would put her record against his record at any time. And when you look at Kamala Harris, she's been a district attorney in California. She's been a state attorney general in California. She's been a prosecuting attorney for many, many years. And she's done a lot of work as vice president. So she has the experience and she has the knowledge needed to guide us for 4 years. Let's give her a try. We've already seen what Orange Man can do, which is nothing. You know, and many of you are confused about when Trump was in office, we were doing well, everything was low, and I had money in my pocket. I think you better go back and look and see the truth. The truth of the matter is, Mr. Orange Man Trump led this nation. Millions of people died unnecessarily because he said COVID was like the flu. Okay, he didn't take it seriously. Many things happened under his term of office that shouldn't have happened. He took us back, as far as climate change, he took us back 20 and 30 years. He got out of the Paris Agreement for climate change. He got out of that and took the United States out of that. There's a whole ton of stuff, man. And so think about your choice, who you want as a president, who you want to represent you, and who will be the best person. Eventually, this month, Kamala Harris will be more than likely elected and nominated as the Democratic nominee. Okay, and so it's going to be on for less than 90 days now, 90-some days before we vote in November. And I would suggest that everybody out there take a survey, take a comparison, take an analysis between what Donald Trump is bringing to the table versus what Kamala Harris is bringing to the table, and then choose the best person for you. That's what I've done. I've already looked at her record, and I've looked at his record. I know what I was here in the Philippines during this whole 4-year term, and it sucked. And I was out here. I was hurting for you guys that was in America. You know, at least hopefully we're waiting for our visa to come through. We'll be back in America hopefully by the end of this year. I'm praying. You guys pray with us. Or not the end of this year, next year. We're waiting for the visa to come through. That's all we're doing now. We moved out of our house in the city. We rented it out. Now we're here in the province because we only actually own 2 houses. The one in the city we rented out, and we came here to this one. We already got this one paid off, so we don't have to pay any rent. So we came out here to live until we'll stay here until she gets that visa. When she gets that visa, we're back in the USA, and I can't wait. All right, well, that's all I had for you guys. Andy, what's up, man? Long time no see. You good? God bless you. Hey, God bless you too, my brother. So good to see you. So good to see you. We're just talking about is she Indian or is she black? Okay, and we all know that Kamala Harris views herself as an African American. She was born into this world by an Indian mother and a Jamaican father. Okay. And so she is of mixed heritage. She is biracial, but she identifies as black, just the same as Barack Obama had an African father and he had an American Caucasian mother. Okay, but all of his life he's identified as black. And I don't know if you guys, for those of you that follow me, you know I did a show. I guess about a couple of years, 2-3 years ago now, and I talked to you about whenever a white or a Caucasian or a black person get together and they have children, the children will normally be identified as black, whether they're light skinned, dark skinned, I don't care. They're going to be, because they have that gene in them that will come, that's the majority gene is going to be a black gene, okay? And that's just the way it is, okay? So that's how most mixed people are identified. If they're with black or white, they're usually identified as black. And you say, how's Lisa thought you'd be in USA now? She's mixed race, but as seen as black when she's just a person of mixed heritage. Yeah, she's mixed, you know, but she's black. You know, she identifies as black all of her life. That's what she said. And she was on an interview with Charlemagne the God several years ago now. She said, I'm black. I've always identified as black. And I don't know, and she went to Howard University. How much more black can you get? You know, she graduated from Howard University with a degree in political science. Okay, and she went on to another university in California for a law degree. And then another dumb thing. Well, another thing Donald Trump said that she was dumb and she did not pass the bar. She did pass the bar. How can she be a lawyer without? How can she be attorney general in the state of California without passing the bar exam? I think what he was trying to allude to, it took her 2 times to pass. First time she failed it, second time she passed it. So that's pretty good, because most of the time people take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times to pass that test. That's how hard that exam is, bar exam. I have a niece and she took like 8 times before she passed it, okay? And so she's now an attorney. So that's what he meant. So let's do, every time Donald Trump opens his mouth, we need to go and do the fact checking and research on what he's saying, because most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, it's not accurate. And being nice, flat out, bald face, you know what, okay? All right, guys. Well, that's it for now. I was going to holler at you guys. When I saw that, I said, I gotta do it live. I gotta do it live. This is so much, bothered me so much, man. But I hope you guys do your homework, get all your information right, get your facts right about the candidates that we have available now. The oldest man ever to be nominated as a nominee for the presidency of the United States is Donald Trump. It was going to be Biden, but Biden's health went down, so Trump took the honors, and now he's running. Okay, he don't want to debate. He pulled out a debate, and now he's doing everything he can to put down his opponent, which is Kamala Harris. And the only thing he can do is what? Make personal attacks. You cannot win a race, ladies and gentlemen, making personalized attacks against the people. You have to talk about the policy. You have to talk about the programs. You have to talk about the political viewpoint of your opponent. That's when you get respect from the public. When you form personalized attacks against an individual, that does nothing for you but puts you down on a scale. Okay, so he's not high in my book, especially when he goes low, going low like that on somebody. You just don't do that. Okay? All right, guys, that's it for now. Good to see Andy. Good to see Markel. You guys take care. I'll see you on the backside of my BobbieD team. Take care. God bless and